Ooh, it's a juicy Tuesday. Transform your relationships live. I'm Laura Rubenstein here with the amazing Dr. Roberta Shaler. Hi, Roberta.
Hi, the amazing Laura Rubenstein.
Yeah, so I'm excited about our juicy topic today, which is expressing love because we are in this month of Valentine's Day. And so we thought we'd talk about love, and especially in our socially distanced world, which things are getting some tensions are flaring up and in homes if you're 24/7 with your family, or you're trying to be more loving with people you're not able to see. How can we do that? So let's talk.
Yeah, absolutely. These are important considerations. When you actually find yourself 24/7 with the people in your home, you're going to learn a thing or two that you didn't notice before. And things that you would sort of go, oh, yeah, there it goes again, become truly large irritants. And that can really have a detrimental effect on how you feel about one another and how you feel about yourself and your situation. So we really need to talk about this.
Yeah, I think it's a time when people are either feeling closer to some of their loved ones and not so and more distant from others, and it's challenging. It really is challenging. So if someone wants to start, you know, getting over some tensions that have started in a dynamic, maybe this being together like you're saying is 24/7 together can like expand the issues, right? So where do
Oh,
we go with that?
well, yes, they'll expand the issues, but they're magnified. And so, boy, the light is on. Like, you always, you never, you've never done this. So we get into extreme language when we're talking to one another in those ways, and that's not helpful. We really have to be looking at being able to express ourselves, not as judges and critics of others. And so we express love when we take responsibility for how things are affecting me and be able to put that, I talk so often about the personal weather report that I created, but being able to take responsibility for it in a very emotionally mature way, communicate that so that it doesn't come across as blame and shame. And these are important things if you're 24/7 with other humans. They're important things if you think you're in a loving, committed relationship, whether that's a relationship with your child or your parent or your partner. You do need to have a little more highly honed skills when you're in such close proximity. And everybody's a little bit grumpy, anxious, there's different emotions that are running underneath, and you never know when somebody else is really close to the surface with one of those. And so you want to do your very best to communicate in loving ways that can be heard, just in case they're, hanging on by a thread in that moment.
I mean, I love how we always talk about, and you have in your personal weather report, it's all about taking responsibility. And I went like this with that word because I know a lot of people don't like that word. But I think power comes from one's personal power comes from taking responsibility. Otherwise, when you're blaming and shaming or criticizing another, you're giving your power to that person. You're saying you're causing me to do this, and I have no power or say in the matter. Why would somebody want to put themselves in that position? I mean, like if you really think about it. But when you take responsibility for whatever you have, what your feelings are, you have a whole different world of opportunity and communication and expressing love.
Yes, absolutely. And for many people, they're used to looking outward rather than inward. And whenever have we had such an opportunity to kind of be forced to look a little bit inward? The people who are having the most difficult times, Laura, are the people who are looking for someone to blame for everything. And that will certainly not be anything like expressing love if you're looking for how can I blame you for things. And what you don't even have to be a hijackal or a difficult person to be finding that as your practice when you're feeling anxious or stressed. And so it's important for us to have really good techniques that allow us to just talk straightforwardly about what's going on for us and put it on the table. I often tell my clients, say this, and think about it as you just put it on a piece of paper between you, and you put it in the middle. See if the other person picks it up. That's the first step. Are they interested enough to pick it up? Or do they take it and walk by it for 30 hours? Like, in my major relationship, I said, you have a 36-hour turnaround time. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, your first answer is always no. And then 36 hours later, you come back and you say, you know what you asked me yesterday? Well, I've been thinking about it and I've changed my mind. So knowing each other and knowing each other's time frames and knowing how each other processes, we have an opportunity to observe that as well as observe how we do. And this is truly an opportunity if we make it so.
I agree. I think there's lots of opportunity. And I think if we're frustrated or struggling or feeling depressed, there's something rich that's available for ourselves in this. There's some opportunity to connect with others because it's saying, I want to deeply connect and I don't know how. And then it comes out in these weird ways if you don't have the tools for taking responsibility, which means doing that introspection of what's really going on here. Because you said so many people, it's so easy to blame the outside world, but the minute you say, no, I'm feeling this and I need this and I want this, how can I get it, right? Then the wheels start turning inside about like, I can have some say so in the matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was talking with somebody the other day and they said, well, he doesn't make me happy anymore. I said, not his job. And she said, what do you mean, not his job? He's my partner. It's not his job to make you happy. And it's his job to not hurt you. It's his job to express love to you. It's his job to be an equal partner with you. But it's not his job to make you happy. That's your job. And for you to calibrate what it is that makes you happy and ask for that and say, this would work for me. And that's how you get happy. But it's not like someone else is standing in front of your stroller trying to make you laugh,
And if they were, it would be kind of icky.
Yeah.
It would be icky if all they did all day long was like, "Are you happy now? Are you happy now? I did this. Are you happy now? Or what do you want me to do to make you happy?" That seems very wimpy.
Well, yes, because the meter from that to being a people pleaser with no life of your own, no values of your own expressed, and no needs of your own met is not a very big distance. So if somebody is supposed to be there jumping to make you happy, you'll lose respect for them. You truly will, because there's nobody over there. They're just jumping around trying to make you happy. And this is our opportunity to really take stock of all this and find out, like, where am I really in the communication of love? And is it love, or is it demand, or is it meet my needs, or what is it really? And we have that opportunity if we're willing to take it. Many people aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, of course I want people to be happy and I want to do things that facilitate more happiness for them, but it's not as a 24/7 job and it's not at the expense of myself and my own needs. So there's some balance here that there's a dance of mutual, like you could call it, equality and reciprocity, and there's and communication through that. So
Mhm.
what might that look like and how might we generate that?
Well, first of all, those are the three must haves of a healthy adult relationship from my podcast: equality, reciprocity, and mutuality. Oh, look at her. How prepared. Um, but first of all, you have to have a little think about, well, do I behave in those ways? Do I treat other people as equals? We had a brief talk about racism this morning. Um, what goes on in your head? What are your underlying beliefs? Do you really treat other people as equals? That's a very important thing. If you're in a one-to-one partnership with someone, a romantic relationship, you must see each other as equals. Otherwise, you're going to have a relationship that is going to have resentment in it. And reciprocity means, you're my person. I know I can go to you and I can ask for what I need and want. And if you can give it to me, you will. And if you can't do it right then and you can do it later, you will, and I will do for you. And you're quite open to ask, and I'm willing to hear your requests. And so there's reciprocity. It's not a scoreboard, it's not tit for tat. It's just, I can turn to you. You're my number one person. And then mutuality means that I know you. I know what lights you up. I know what your goals are. I know what you'd love to achieve. I know what would thrill you. And I'm in it to win it for you and with you. So if I can help you do those things and you can help me do what I'm doing, that's what makes our relationship emotionally intimate.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds wonderful. That is.
Yeah. Well, how many people actually stop and think about how they're creating their relationship with their partner? I mean, if we don't understand that there are, I know you do, yes, but if we don't understand there are three entities in a relationship, there are two me's and one we, and each of those is a three-legged stool. They're each three legs of that stool, and the balance has to be maintained. And if we don't understand that sometimes my partner can't get what he wants and I can't get what I want because what's in the better interest of the we has to take precedence right now, and we have to be able to communicate and compromise or cooperate or collaborate in order to make that happen. So we have to be in constant communication about how can we enrich our relationship? How can we be more emotionally intimate and safely so we can talk about these things? It's really an opportunity for depth, and I think everybody longs for that. They long to be known. In Kaizen for Couples, Laura, I talk about everybody wants to be heard, seen, known, accepted, appreciated, and acknowledged.
Hmm.
And sometimes we're a little stingy with that stuff because we're waiting for them to give it to us first. And that is not going to move your relationship anywhere good.
Yep.
Go first. Don't be afraid to go first. But if you notice that nothing ever comes back, that's an observation you need to make. But if you're now in a relationship 24/7 and you're both working from home, you have a microscope that you're working under. Is how do we collaborate? How do we actually treat each other? How do we actually have each other's interest at heart? And those are very important things. Or if we're with our kids or something, how does that work? I had a call with my daughter and my great grandson last night because he lost his first tooth, and we had to celebrate losing the first tooth. Well, how do we celebrate love from a distance in that way? Getting on Zoom and talking to each other and maintaining that connectivity and demonstrating that that's important. Like, gee, I lost my tooth. Very excited about what had happened. This rite of passage, and how do we respond? Like, yeah, okay, it's a big deal. Or, wow, that's really exciting, Isaac. That's really exciting. And how are we responding to one another?
Yeah.
Because we can be pretty depressed or down or feeling contained or restrained or repressed from being our best selves, especially if we're an extrovert who, the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is an extrovert needs other people to hit off and get their energy. Well, you can't go to networking events and hit off 15 people and go home high. It's a little
You
bit
can
different than,
online on
yeah,
Zoom. You can on Zoom.
you can, but it's just not energetically quite the
It's
same
different.
as in
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
It's different, but it's, there, if you know you need it, go do the best you can and get it.
Oh,
Like, so
yeah.
if that's what you can do and you want to be, not in public gatherings, then find the online gatherings. And one thing we have to remember is that eye contact, which is really hard because you want to look into their eyes, but you
Not the
can't.
camera.
You have to look into the camera to really look into their eyes. I see you below in my periphery, but I have to look into the camera to
Yeah.
see, to connect with you for you. I'm looking at the camera for you. For me, I would look at you on the when you're talking, I would look down below, and it's really a challenge these days, being able to really connect, because people don't feel connected, and I don't feel as connected when I'm looking into that camera, although I've trained myself more so to do a
Yeah.
hybrid, and as much as possible when I'm talking to look into the camera, and then when you're talking, looking at you.
Yes, well, people just, as an example, I look at the camera most of the time because I'm on video all the time. So I'm trained too.
Right.
But if, just watch what happens if I decide I'm going to talk to Laura. Like, I'm going to look like that the whole time. And there's no connectivity because the connectivity looks like I'm talking to Laura. But if I come back to talk to you, and I am actually looking right into your eyes because you're looking at what you're seeing of me, then
Mm-hmm.
there's more connectivity possible. And that's just a simple little trick that can help you feel more connected in a Zoom room, and particularly help the other people feel more connected.
Right. I don't know that I feel more connected looking into a box at the top, but I know you do because you're seeing me. So it is challenging. It is something to get used to. There are a couple of machines out there that if you look at the screen, it changes it so it looks like you're looking into the camera. There's more AI technology coming out. And I think we'll see a lot more of that in the future. I think the Microsoft Surface Pro actually has that technology. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like eye tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes, and I remember doing a video 3 years ago on a Mac. It was a desktop. I don't know which one it was, but when I was looking at my script on the screen and I was reading it, when I watched and it was recording through this software, when I watched the replay back, it looked like I was looking into the camera. And I'm like, that is so cool. I don't know how they do it. And I want to see, I was certain we were going to see more of it coming out, but I
Mm-hmm.
only know those two instances. So if anybody knows, let us know.
But let's just add that when you're in person, are you making that level of eye contact? Because many people don't. Many people are uncomfortable with eye contact. So it may be just as simple as starting by making more eye contact with the people that you are living with. Maybe, really see them across the dinner table,
What a
look at them.
concept.
Yeah, people want to feel seen. They don't want
Yeah.
to feel invisible. And if we make it just a practice of actually looking into the eyes of other humans, that connectivity factor goes way up. And that's a good thing. Definitely a good thing. So that's something that anybody can improve, is just make eye contact with humans. And when you go somewhere and you have your mask on, smile through your eyes. Make an effort to smile. Don't think, oh, they can't see my mouth anyway. Smile so that your eyes brighten up.
Or get a mask and put a smile on it.
Well, that they may get a laugh out of that, but they won't get the connectivity. But
Right.
if you smile, your eyes smile.
Yeah. Exactly. That's beautiful. I mean, today is all about expressing love. We have Valentine's Day coming up. Be generous with yourself and others in terms of, I think that's the message today, is being that generosity of, you know, with yourself, and understand what their needs are and be willing to hear them, be willing to express yours. But I love the whole thing about without blame or shame, criticizing or judgment.
Yeah.
They have to do it. And that is a muscle to build, like to
Yes.
say what is so here without causing pain over there.
Yeah, I have a whole video on it on my YouTube channel for relationship help. Just go on that channel and then do a search on personal weather report. I did a whole video on it. So if that's kind of something that you've missed us talking about before, it's there for you. So for relationship help is the name of the YouTube channel. So youtube.com/for, FOR, relationship, HELP.
I love that. There is something hugely valuable, and I feel like I'm still learning how to do the personal weather report because it takes a lot of practice. It's like I always want to default when you do this, I feel that. And that sets them up for being blamed for something versus I feel this, I want this, I need this, I think this, that's just keep the I statements going until you've gotten it out. And I request this maybe even, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of ways to say it. I recognize that I'm feeling apart and distant, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing to be part of that, but I certainly would appreciate more closeness. Because I don't know what my part in this is, but I would love to feel more connected, and I'd love insights or help with that. You know, you could say that to your partner, and they would be like, oh, you want me to participate in helping you feel
Mhm.
better? I'm on it, right? But if you say, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I just don't feel close at all, and you must be doing something. Okay, fight on. Here we go. You know, and we don't want to be in those places. So if we learn a better communication tool and use the personal weather report, it allows us to learn to go from a more valid place to be expressing things. Each one of us is the expert on what's going on for us as much as we can know at the moment. And when we are willing to say that, we disclose something that allows someone else to say, oh, I had no idea, or thank you for including me in your thought process, or thanks for reaching out, or thanks for asking, or thanks for telling me this. Give me a chance to respond to see what it looks like, the world looks like through your eyes. And that deepens our emotional intimacy. But if we don't have emotional maturity, we'll be like those people who say, if you really love me, you'd know what I want. No, it's not like that. It is not like that. If you really love the other person, you would express what you want so that they don't have to guess, and they could freely and willingly perhaps give it to you. But if you think that you're in a relationship with a mind reader and Valentine's Day is coming up, oh, you're going to have a disappointment. But if you could say, you know what would just thrill me beyond words? I just want you to know, just in case that you were interested, then you get a chance of letting that other person show up and give it to you. And on the other hand, if you put that out there and they don't show up, then you can read that as well to say, they weren't interested in what I needed and wanted. You could ask questions about that. you know, why didn't you not want to sit on the back porch with me and have wine and watch the sunset for Valentine's Day? There was no money involved. There was nothing particular to do. I just asked for time, and then someone doesn't feel like it. Well, then you've got some good information.
Mhm.
But if you're playing that game of, you love me, you should know what I want, eradicate that one, okay? Eradicate that one right away. Be willing to express yourself and give people an opportunity to show up.
Yay. And I think that is a great point to complete today with. Enjoy your Valentine's, taking
Yes.
responsibility, listening to others, and saying what you need, I think, is a really good takeaway.
Yeah, ask for what you need and want and be willing to hear yes or no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not about just people meeting demands or no, it's a two-way communication. And it's about being open to what's so. And I love that you can see when people how they act, it tells you who they are.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And if you're by yourself, treat yourself really specially well.
Yeah. And we'll see you after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yay.
Bye.